Good morning, everyone. Well, here I am back at Rambla Catalunya, which was where I was last night, with all the fires going off and the shit going down. I must admit, I didn't sleep very well last night. It's kind of funny, really, that at the time, I mean, my pulse was racing and the adrenaline was kind of going through my body. But I wasn't that frightened. It was when I kind of looked back. Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm not stupid, so I'm aware of the dangers that you put yourself in these situations. But I kind of wanted to report on things, and yeah, I'm gonna make this call out now. But I'm doing these reports. I'll do these reports whether they make money or not. But I'm kind of making an average of 2 reports a day. 2 reports every day. It's kind of it's a lot more effort than it seems. You don't just record and you think about it, then you look at it, then you load it up. And it stops me from doing more profitable work, so please think about this. There are links, there'll be links below the video, but I have to make a living, and I try and be as honest as possible about what's happening, and this is happening around me. As I said to the police last night when they stopped me, yeah, I'm just reporting on things because I actually live in the eye of the hurricane. And it's quite amazing, really, being back here since last night, because, yeah, last night, being in the middle of it with all the gangs, it was pretty shocking. This, as you can see here, this is one of the fires I filmed. This is the effects that it's had on the street, and it doesn't look too bad. Although one of the depressing things is the kind of general grubbiness of what's happening to Barcelona. The place is just just coming. You know, there's dirt and shit, and 3-4 nights of burnings and violence and general vandalism and hooliganism. It's just fucking depressing, really. And I mean, many times I've said it's like what, I don't know whether I'm a third positionist or a high Tory or but I just want to live in a beautiful world, and I've often said that the reason why I became a nationalist was because I realised that the new arrivals, the invaders, wouldn't love this place as much as I do and would end up destroying it. By dint of the same argument, actually, the loony left, the Antifa types, and misguided youth that were out on the streets last night just looking for a ruck and looking to cause trouble and smash things, then I despise them as much as I despise the invaders, really, because what's important is to preserve the beauty, and what seems to happen with the left, and it's why I've left the left, is they are just destroyers of everything that's worthwhile, and I keep coming back to this, the idea of 1936. It's important because history is repeating itself, and I'll talk about this a little bit more. I might find a place to sit down and just muse on things, because you can't really see. I mean, it's quite shocking how, or surprising how different things are from last night to now. You wouldn't think that all hell broke loose here. It looks a bit grubbier and scrattier than it did. But yeah, in 1936, the so-called anarchists, the Antifa types, the revolutionaries, the far-left hooligans, burnt churches, burnt beautiful things, killed people. And this is where it all kind of leads. And this is why I oppose them, because I think I've talked before about the ideals of goodness, truth and beauty, and in many respect for beauty is as important as anything. I was going to sit down on this seat here, but this bloke decided to take my place, so I'll move up to the next seat. There's lots of seats to sit on, but it doesn't look so bad. But anyway, I think I've got plenty to talk about, and I'll just sit here, and you can watch people go by, and I'll chat. Yeah, my thoughts are developing on this. Today is the day of the general strike, supposed general strike. So the streets are very, very quiet for a Friday. This is Friday morning here in Barcelona. Normally there'd be loads of traffic around. There isn't. Most of the shops along here appear to be open, or quite a lot is open. But transport will be shut down. Hospitals will be on minimal staff. Public administration. My wife, who works in the judiciary system, was told not to bother coming in because of the strike. She was quite happy to work, even though she's pro-independence. So I mean, lots and lots of things are closed down, and it's incredibly quiet for a Friday. I mean, it seems like the city is functioning, but we are right in the centre. This is Rambla de Catalunya. This is one of the busiest streets in town. Like normally there'd be triple the number of people walking up and down here, and there'd be lines of traffic along these two lanes on the side of the Rambla. So that's what's going to happen. And there's going to be a big demo at 5 o'clock tonight. Once again on Passeig de Gràcia. One of the reasons why I can report on these things is I live in this kind of, it's District 2 of Barcelona, the Eixample, and this is where everything is occurring. So yeah, I mean, I'm putting effort in, and it would be nice to get a little bit of reward for it. But I don't live, well, I live reasonably close. So it's, 10-15 minutes walk maximum in order to find out what's happening. I used to live out in the suburbs, and I just wouldn't have seen this. I wouldn't have seen what's happening before I moved to this area. So I've kind of really got my finger on the pulse. But yeah, things are developing really, and as a consequence, my ideas are developing. One of the big concerns last night, and I didn't really understand what was happening when I made the video last night, is there was a counter demonstration, a pro-Spanish counter demonstration up in Sarrià, which is a neighbourhood outside the centre, a kind of quite well-to-do neighbourhood. And when I was in the bar early last evening, yeah, people were talking about, lots of fascists live around there, lots of PP types, and the way this has been reported in the press is the extreme right demonstrated in Sarrià. Now, 99% of these people were just pro-Spanish. We're talking about an identity question here. I don't want to enter into the rights and wrongs of these things. I'm really more concerned about the possibilities of success. I don't think the Catalan independence movement has any possibility of success. I think the leading politicians know that, which implies that they are deliberately taking people down a blind alley and into a difficult situation. Perhaps they're paid to do this, perhaps this is of design. But the Spanish speaking, there's lots of people with Spanish parents who were born outside Catalonia, who speak Spanish at home, and this is really one of the issues of demographics. The Catalans had their demographics challenged in the 60s and 70s, when their population was about three and a bit million, and 2.5 million Spanish speakers from other parts of Spain were shipped in supposedly to do jobs that the Catalans didn't want to do. Doesn't that sound incredibly similar to what's happening with the immigrants that are coming in from the outside? But now, 50 years on, they have been led to believe that they are Catalan as the Catalans that were whose grandparents and great-grandparents who've been here for generations and generations. And unfortunately, the do-gooding, open borders Catalans don't see where their problems started. But anyway, these people aren't bad people, just as the new immigrants aren't bad people. They're just pawns in a bigger plan. And there was a demonstration in Sarriá, and I showed you last night the hooliganism and violence and the fires and burnings and the Antifa shirts and the balaclavas and all the fuckwittery that was going on here. And these are all the pro-independence Antifa youth. Now, a few hundred people from the demonstration, pro-Spanish, unionists from the demonstration in Sarriá, made their way down here in order to scrap with the independence people. I think I'll get up and have a bit more of a walk. In order to scrap with the independence people. And the way this was reported in the press, or in all the press I've seen, I've seen some very strongly pro-independence press in Catalan, like VilaWeb, but even in La Vanguardia, which is a milquetoast kind of pro-globalization, pro-establishment newspaper, it's pro-status quo newspaper. They were described, the pro-independence people were described as independentists or antifascists, and the unionists were described as fascists. No, this is not true. This is obviously not true. They're just hooligans, and this should be very, very clear to everyone. Very, very nice church here, which I've never noticed before. Perhaps we'll go and have a look at this, and this will make a nice backdrop to talk about. And what they're doing, what the press is doing. I mean, the press are just scumbags. These are the kind of places I want to defend. I don't want this beauty destroyed. I've never been in here before. But this is obviously worth preserving, isn't it? I'll take a step back because there are a few people sitting here praying. Huh? There are a few people sitting here praying, and well, somebody just pointed to me and told me that I can't take photos in there. So I'll stand out here and talk. But this is the thing that is worth defending, and this is one of these are things that these groups want to destroy, and it's all the left, all the invaders. I still don't fully understand the nature of the attack. And I have my doubts about. I've kind of got pagan friends, but Christianity is definitely under attack, and this is an attack on beauty. It's an attack on truth. I don't know what. I'm confused about my spirituality, but these kind of things get attacked, and these things are hated. And if they're hated, this is the enemy of my enemies. So it kind of implies that there's something in here, there's something in this that is worth defending, and apart from anything else, it's beauty. It's the beauty of the architecture, it's the beauty of the imagery, and they don't seem to like this. They want to make everything scruffy and ugly. But yeah, these old fault lines are being re-established. It's turning into Catalans pro-independence equals left, unionism pro-Spanish equals right, and yeah, there's an election coming up on the 10th of November. These fault lines are going to be drawn more clearly, and there's various commentators on my videos who seem to think I'm stuck in the past. No, these fault lines have never gone away. When I came here in 1988, I realised that the fault lines between the Republican left and the traditionalist right are here to stay. That doesn't mean that there aren't. I've become anti-left because of its destructive nature. That doesn't mean that many of the people, many of the Unionists who came down here last night, aren't just hooligans. Obviously they are, but things are being portrayed in these terms. Yeah, and it was the Catalan press. It was the Catalan press in Spanish, and I also, whilst having breakfast this morning, saw one of the Spanish TV stations, and they were talking about far-right fascists. So there definitely seems to be an agenda to divide people. And here I'm kind of moving across to look at some graffiti here. Mossos y Nacional Alianza Criminal, fuck police. Okay, the Mossos are the Catalan police, the Policía Nacional, the Spanish national police, and the two police forces are working together in this, and it's a Alianza Criminal, a criminal alliance. Yeah, so they're trying to maintain law and order, but it seems that battle lines are being drawn, and by the press they're being encouraged, and we know who tends to control the press. I've shown many of this before, but here are the remains of one of the fires that was here last night. Yeah, but these battle lines are being drawn, and it seems that the confrontation is being encouraged. I saw this very clearly after the experience last night. I think after the experience last night, it's not infiltrators. The situation might have been orchestrated, but the majority of the people who were on the streets last night were Catalan youth. Not I was calling them kids, but they're youth, they're young people. Most of them are old enough to know that they are what they're doing, and they're there for a fight, and they're using independence as an excuse. I also read a report this morning saying that this weekend, so after the demonstration tonight, this weekend, anti-system groups, which is kind of Antifa, Soros types, throughout Europe are expected to arrive in Barcelona. So things could get a lot hairier and a lot nastier. Various things are happening. The big demonstration, we're only 3 or 4 days in, but the big demonstration was set for the 26th of October. And that's apparently going to be massive. By the time we reach the 26th of October, complete anarchy will reign here. It's extraordinary. I'm having been in the thick of it last night, I know how nasty it is, and I wasn't in a particularly dangerous situation comparatively. I wasn't there for the fights. I've seen both pro-independence supporters and unionists, individuals get attacked and kicked and really badly beaten. There are plenty of videos circulating on Facebook and Twitter, and it's kind of amazing the lack of self-awareness of both sides, really, because their view is, oh, it's terrible when it happens to one of ours, but they don't see how both sides are participating in the same fucking LARP. It gets me down sometimes how little these people see that they're being played, and they're clearly being played, and battle lines are being drawn, and Barcelona for now is going to be a battleground, and it might well spread. And I've kind of hinted at, part of the reason for making this is, yes, there are similar things happening in Hong Kong, that's not Europe, but in France this has been going on for months. It's pretty clear that the police have been involved in provoking incidents. I don't know the situation well enough, so I don't know what the motivation behind it could possibly be. But shit's happening. In the same way as after Brexit is sold out, or whatever happens with Brexit, two sides are unhappy and two sides have learnt to hate each other. Stuff might kick off. I don't know whether it's going to happen in spring, but I think we're heading towards a European spring, which was orchestrated by Soros types. These colour revolutions, a lot of the independence movement has been orchestrated by tribal influencers, for want of a better word. I mentioned Sheldon Adelson in an earlier video, who kind of sprung things off by offering investment in Catalonia, and this has been taken over by Open Societies foundations supporting the left. So things are getting hairy, and things are getting hairy around Europe, and battle lines are being drawn. is it like the 30s? I think there are many parallels. Then it was class, so it was mainly this is the term I like, brother wars. It was mainly class based, but the poor were weaponized against the bourgeoisie. Just read the Communist Manifesto to understand how this works. Now it tends to be nationalists against globalists, and yeah, I'm clearly a nationalist. I want our people to remain homogenous. Europe is for white people principally. That doesn't mean I hate anybody else, but if other races come here, it won't be what it is. Catalonia won't be Catalonia, and won't have the culture I love if 50% of the population, more than 50% of the population, are born outside, and most of those are Muslims or South Americans. They have a different way of viewing the world, and they will. This culture will deteriorate inevitably because it won't be loved and cared for, and it will change. I want to preserve the real diversity of Europe, and that's maintaining the different cultures. But like back in the 30s, it was a class thing, and I think the same groups, the same tribal groups, were behind it. Let's call them Masons, for want of a better word. But Masons and their cactus-loving friends were orchestrating conflict in the 20s and 30s. I think something very similar is happening now. Battle lines are being drawn. Did I tell you the Barcelona game has been postponed to December? It was going to happen on the 26th. This is to kind of avoid. Just imagine, 50,000 Real Madrid, pro-Spanish Real Madrid fans coming to Barcelona. All hell would break loose. So that's probably a sensible idea. It's going to be in December. The mad president of Catalonia, Quim Torra, is talking about organising another referendum. I'm kind of completely convinced that he's LARPing. In fact, many of these people, Carlos Puigdemont, the ex-president, Quim Torra, Roger Torrent. I spent a weekend with Roger Torrent, who's the Speaker of the Catalan Parliament, who is one of the thickest people I've ever come across. He can only work from a script, so he's obviously a ventriloquist dummy. The kind of stuff he says and the position he takes about the fascists, and we've got to be scared of the extreme right. Then somebody's written a script for this, because I've met him, and he's not capable of an original thought himself. Yeah, so they're talking about another referendum, and one of the slogans of the pro-independence people is tornarem a fer, we'll do it again, which is precisely we'll have another referendum, which if you look coldly at the situation, this is utterly and completely unfeasible. But yeah, this is very much what I think is happening. Battle lines are being drawn. I know this doesn't look so terrible, but it's kind of scruffy and scratty. More evidence of fire, and just the streets are dirty. I mean, this is a really beautiful city architecturally. It's kind of quite nice there not being many people around. There'd normally be cars, and you wouldn't be able to see the beauty because of the number of people. But yeah, battle lines are being drawn. I'll probably report on stuff this evening I'll go to the demonstration, think about more things that you know, as events happen, I observe things unrolling, read more reports, watch bits of television, then I kind of come to my, it's very swish, isn't it? I come to my conclusions, so my thinking is developing very rapidly. But this is definitely an orchestrated situation, and two sides are being set against each other. I don't really know why, but this seems to be happening. There are lots of echoes of... That's nice. There are lots of echoes of the 1930s. I'm trying to maintain a position in the middle, and as you know, I've been studying the nationalisms of the 1920s and 1930s. I've looked quite a lot into Mosley. He seems to be one of the good guys. I'm deeply into a project on José Antonio Primo de Rivera, who was the leader of the Spanish Falange. So when people throw out these ideas like fascist, it's absolutely bullshit, and it's kind of very, very interesting that the powers that be want to keep these words as insults. So the Spanish Unionists call the Catalans Fascists because they're racist. All the press call the Spanish Unionists Fascists because they have Francoist symbols. None of these people know the real ideology underlying it, but obviously I'm putting myself in somewhat of a dangerous situation, because I'm investigating third position ideologies, and so people will denigrate what I say based on many other things that I'm studying. And I think I'll leave it there. Plenty more to talk about. I could almost go on indefinitely with these streams now. I'll probably be out again this afternoon. I think this afternoon, what will be interesting this afternoon is that the demonstration will happen, and up until now it's been kind of Catalan pro-independence Antifa types and stupid youth wrecking the city. I think what will happen tonight is, for the first time, there's likely to be a direct confrontation between radical groups on the pro-independence and unionist sides, which means that things are being stepped up a notch. This is a very important development and a very unfortunate development, but it definitely seems to me to have been designed to be this way. So I'll leave it there. Lots of cars going by on... Yeah, this is Carrer Mallorca. I never seem to get off Carrer Mallorca. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the main streets into Barcelona. Very, very few cars coming down here now. But I'll leave it there and walk back home. Talk to you later. There are a lot of lessons to learn from this. I don't quite know what they are, but as soon as I know what they are, I'll communicate them to you. Let's talk soon.